Hello everybody, I'm David from Polygonic, and today I'm going to show you how you can use interniq, our newly released product which consists of many interior assets that you can use in architectural visualizations using Blender. And if you're not, then it's still going to be a great help, because you know that feeling when you just want an asset like a microwave or a piece of kitchen or some desk with some monitors already prepared on it, and you have to go to Google and just you start searching for some assets, and then you realize that the assets that you actually like are actually kind of expensive, and the ones that you're left with, those that are free, they're not usually very good, and there's usually some materials missing or some bad UV mapping and stuff that you have to deal with later, and it's not really very convenient for you as a freelancer or as an artist overall, because it's just a lot of wasted time. That's where interniq comes into play. We make tons of architectural visualization projects, and we always wanted some kind of a large asset pack with models that are just already ready to be used, and you don't have to be fixing stuff, moving stuff around. And we just love what we did here, and we think that you will love it too. So let's get into it. Let's make an interior. So we have an empty blend file here, so the first thing obviously is delete everything, as always. Right, so considering that you already watched the installation video, if not, the link is in the description, and you should definitely watch it before doing this. You should see interniq in your end panel on the side when you go to the Polygonic tab. Now, this in itself doesn't do anything yet, because you can find features that you can apply to assets when you spawn some. So the first thing that you need to do is actually install Ngon, which also is in the installation video. Now, if you want to open up an Ngon, you can just slide this new window from the side and then just press the E key. Now this is where things get interesting. So you can see all the asset packs that I have installed, but the ones that we're actually interested in the most is obviously interniq. So when we go into interniq, we can see all these assets that are here and all the tags and labels, and we can just browse through those and find some assets that we like. But before we get into that, we should definitely find some reference. So when you Google living room, or actually any kind of rooms, you always get like these very polishy kinds of images that are way too clean. They just look like Airbnbs with 5 stars and just thousands of dollars in them. Anyways, I was thinking that we should start with a kitchen. So why did I Google living room? Okay, never mind. Let's pretend I Googled kitchen. In any kitchen that you see, you always have some light coming from the sides. It's usually from the side, especially like when you're trying to cook something, you want the light come from the left, so that you don't it just comes natural that you have light coming from the left side, at least for me. But let's not dig too deep into this. You can spend as many hours in the reference phase as you want, but yeah, let's just go with this one for now. Should be easy enough. So the first thing that we do is actually create a plane, and before we start extruding stuff, we should probably make some measurements. So we're going to press 4, we're going to press 3 in here, and we know that in this corner we want to have the kitchen. Just so I know where the kitchen is going to end, I'm going to leave a loop cut here, and I'm just going to extrude these faces along their correspondent axes. I really like the L shape of the kitchen, and I think that we can go with that we can continue that behind this corner, and that there can be some living room area over there. So let's pretend that this is going to be a corner. So let's select the faces and let's extrude the faces upwards. Now the average ceiling height in the UK is about 2.4 meters. So let's actually just put that in, and now we can see that we have our L room prepared. Since we don't want to be working exterior, and this is not going to be an asset that's going to be placed in an outside scene, but we're going to be looking at it inwards, you can see that the face inwards is negative. So go into edit mode, select everything with an A key, go to mesh, normals, and flip. Great. Now for the window. Now, considering that we said that we want light coming from the left side and the kitchen is going to be in this corner, we should probably, make some loop cuts and create a basic sort of, hole for the window. I'm not really worried about the height of the window at this moment, because I'm going to be deducting it based on the kitchen desk asset. So let's not worry about that. Let's actually turn off the face orientation visibility. And one thing that I like to do even at this stage is create a camera and putting it somewhere so that, you know, when you're rotating in a scene and things get messy, especially when you're doing an interior, you want to have like a grounding point to which you can always, you know, just like teleport to. So good, great. We have a camera. Now, if we go into rendered view and we switch to cycles and we go into GPU, now I can, you know, save a little bit of memory by just, you know, Control B and selecting the camera view. And now the only thing that's going to be rendered when I'm looking from the camera is what the camera sees. So, when you need to have some sort of lighting for reference, you can either just, you know, turn off the scene world, which is going to be using one of the Blender's native HDR eyes, which is great, but you don't really get to see it. Or you could, you know, just go into the world settings, and instead of background, now it's actually in the color. So instead of color, you can select the sky texture, which sort of works. But yeah, here at Polygonic, we like to use our HDR eyes. So if you go into Engon and if you go into Materialic, or if you just stay in the Engon overall, it's at the top. You can select from many of HDRIs that we've prepared for you. So let's just go with this one. Okay, so now that we have an HDRI in the scene, we can see how it looks, and we can rotate it so that it's, you know, facing, so that we can actually, like, you know, just, I'm not really worried about the view that's now in the window because we're going to be covering it anyways. Good, so we have some light in there, but now you can see that we are also missing some sort of, you know, thickness to the wall. So let's just quickly add a solidify generator and yeah, add some thickness to it. We can also turn on denoising so that we don't always have to, you know, look through the noise. Okie dokie. So we have some room set up, we have a view, and we have some light coming from the side. So now let's get to the fun part. If we go into the interniq tab, we can see that there's a category called doors and windows. So down here we have this asset, which is window 3-panel wooden frame. Now if we import it, we can see that it's just straight up in the scene, which is great. It also has, you know, wood already mapped to it, and we can see that if we rotate it by 90 degrees along the z-axis, we can just put it there. Now I was thinking that we're going to have a small window, but I'm actually going to be, yeah, just maybe I'm going to move it a little bit more to the left because the kitchen desk is going to be even larger. Or you know what, screw it, let's just import something from the kitchen also already, so that we have some reference and we know how large it's actually going to be. So if we go into the kitchen category, you can see that there's a lot of cupboards to choose from. There's like some older ones, there's some modern, some wooden ones, some really classy white ones which look like, you know, they were just taken from IKEA. And yeah, let's go with the cabinet base Yara. That looks pretty decent. And let's put it into position. So we can just slide it in there, you know, and make sure that there is no clipping going on, that there's like some, you know, space still between the wall and the asset. Great. A bit more here. Good. Now in real life you would probably want to have some space, there, but at the same time we can just like move it a bit over here. Yeah, this should work. Yeah, this should work nicely. And now if we add a loop cut here, now that we accomplished this, we can actually go back into the doors and windows section, and we can select some blinds if we want those for, you know, for the window frame. So let's again import those and move them, rotate them along the z-axis and move them into position right above the window. Now we can duplicate them and put 2 of those there. Move them a bit more to the center, like this. Great, so now that we have something interesting going on, now we could go about making this whole kitchen by an asset after asset after asset, but that can be really tiring. So I'm going to show you a very useful thing called ready-mades. Now ready-mades are collections of assets which are anyways in the interniq already. They're just, arrangements of those assets as they would be arranged in real life. So if we go into the ready-mades category and then go into kitchen, we can see that we actually have the whole kitchen Yara one wall already prepared. So we can actually go ahead and delete this desk and import the Yara ready-made. Boom. Just saved ourselves hours of time. Now we make sure that there is no clipping going on. And move it into place. Great. And just like that, we have already a good looking kitchen. Like it really depends on what you're going after, but the ready-mades will definitely give you a head start, whether you're, making some architectural visualizations, or if you're just making some renovations in your own house and you just need some sort of kitchen to be there. Now we can see that the kitchen is actually way too high for the ceiling that we have. So let's go ahead and select the ceiling. I just did this by selecting Shift and G, which selects similar faces, and I selected the normal. And we can just move it a bit higher, and this is probably a bit higher, but yeah, that's actually, yeah, I like this height. And just like that, you can see that we have a whole kitchen. Like the whole corner was made in like what, 5 minutes by just importing this asset. It's incredible how, and it's just incredible. Anyways, if you want to edit this, you still can. If you open up the side panel by N and go into Polygonic, the Ngon allows you to turn this asset into editable. Now what happened is that this whole ready-made, the collection of all these assets has been split into separate assets, which gives you the flexibility to select every single piece and move it around. Or if you want to use just this part but you don't want this part, you can now delete it and select the assets from the hierarchy and move them back into the corner, and you don't have to have the high cabinet there, and you have just the thing that you like. Isn't that great? Isn't that amazing? Anyways, people should have something to eat, or they should have somewhere to sit and eat. So let's add in some dining pre-made ready-made, and I like this one. I think that's going to look great. Boom, just like that. It's already there. It's already looking great. Let's move it a bit to the window because people like to eat where there's light. So that could look okay, I think. Like it might be a bit close, might want to rotate it like so. Yeah, so it feels a bit more natural. Yeah, something like that. Maybe. So yeah, something that works better for the camera view. Something like this. Yeah, that I think looks pretty decent. It already looks kind of done to me, but we don't have floor, so let's add floor. If you don't have material, don't worry. Like you can find so many textures freely on the internet of some planks and just assign those, download those and assign them instead of using materialic materials. But since I have materialic, I'm going to be using that. So let's find some. Am I supposed to generic oak? Yeah, it's gonna look okay. Except I don't really want it on the walls and ceilings. So let's add another material. Go into edit mode, select everything, assign back the white generic material. Select this one, go back into edit mode, select the floor, Shift G, select similar by normal. Now I have the whole floor selected, and yeah, select the wooden planks and hit assign. Amazing. Already looking pretty decent. Now another interesting feature that I'd like to show you is this. If I go into the world settings and I turn off the light, maybe not as much, but something like this. Let's pretend that this is the nighttime. If we go back into interniq and we go into the light category, we can find a lamp, some lamp that we like. Let's go ahead with this one. Great. Now you can see that it's a lamp. It's an emissive object and it doesn't emit light. That's because we prepared a specific feature for all emissive assets. Open up the side panel, and now you can see that interniq has some new options that weren't previously available. You know, if you don't have any assets selected, you don't see these options, but if you select these assets, you can see that these options appear. Now, if I select again the lamp, you can see that in the light adjustments, ignore this for now, in the light adjustments, there's something called strength. If I, increase it, you can see how the whole room just lights up. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, I'm not really sure where I would put this lamp, but it should probably be somewhere near the dining table, but it also shouldn't be clipping. So let's, put this a bit closer to the camera and, have it over there. If you want to go into more advanced stuff, you can start studying how temperatures work, how many kelvins are what lamps and all that, but I'm pretty satisfied with the temperature I already have set up. But if you want it colder, you can just control this slider and increase the number of kelvins. It's a kitchen, it's some place where you can eat, so it probably shouldn't be as cold as an inside of a fridge. So let's actually decrease it. This might be a bit too much. Yeah, something around the 3,800 that I already had seems pretty okay to me. Great, amazing. Here we can see how it looked without, how it looks with. Overall, when I focus on this part already seems kind of done. And that's just because I'm using ready-mades and I'm not importing each and every piece of cutlery and glass and I think that this part could do with a fridge, because what else would you put in there? Like, fridge has to be pretty close to the desk, so let's find some fridge. There's just so many. Here it is. Fridge American brushed. Boom, just like that. Let's move it into place. Again, make sure that there's no clipping through the wall, and so that it's like very close but not way too close, something like that. Maybe, yeah, that could look okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm bothered by the fact that I can see a bit of wall there, but yeah, this looks better. I was bothered by it. Yep. Just like that, we already have a very decent looking kitchen. Now, if you'd like to make this feel even more lived in, there are categories for food and drinks, and in these you can import some bakery, for example, like this photo scan of a pastry bun. Yeah, great. It looks very funny, but at least there's something in the dish now. Okay, enough messing around. So another thing that I would like to show you is this. Let's add another lamp, or let's just copy this one and put it over here. Rotate it a little, like so, or maybe like this. Yeah, good. And let's add a living room corner into this corner. If we go back into interniq, we can find that underneath these categories there are also these things called tags. Now, if we go and just select furniture, and we don't really care about whether it's like bedroom furniture or if it's living room furniture, this gives you all furniture. And I'd like to import some really nice looking chair like this one. This looks very designish. Yeah, it looks nice. Let's just stick with that. It looks nice. And I'm just gonna put it over here like this. Maybe rotate it away from the kitchen, actually. Yeah, that makes more sense. Great. And now, if we go into, again, ready-mades and we still stick with the tag furniture, we get ready-mades which are just using like, you know, furniture assets. So here we can see that we've prepared some really nice looking living room seating areas, and I think this one would look actually really nice. Although it might be a bit too wide. Let's see. If I rotate it, yeah, it's definitely gonna be way too wide. But it's not really a bad thing. I mean, like, we can probably make it, you know. No, let's use something else. Let's use this one. Yeah. Again, rotate it and slide it into place. Great. Make sure there is no clipping so that it doesn't look fake. And now we can see that like this asset has the same lamp and it's clipping through the wall. I could definitely like move this wall and make it a bit wider, but why not use the Engon's editable feature and just, you know, make it editable and select the separate asset and again like edit the ready-made. Like the fact that you import it in this composition doesn't mean it has to stay in this composition. You can always convert it into editable and then just select the assets that you'd like to displace somewhere else and just move them around. This could be probably like, you know, between the chair and the sofa, like so. Now yeah, now we forgot to turn on the light. Right, looking nice. A bit too sterile to my taste. There's nothing on the walls, but we can fix that. So let's go back into interniq and let's go into decor. Yeah, decor. Oh yeah. Now you can see that it didn't find anything because I went into the decor category with the tag of furniture selected. So if I deselect it, now I can see that there's all the assets which are in the decor category. Anyways, I think you get the point. Like using ready-mades always just speeds up your process. Like imagine making this scene by hand and importing every asset, you know, separately. It just doesn't make sense when you have pre-made and which are made from, you know, the same assets, and you have the ability to turn them into editables and move them around. Anyways, so the last thing I would like to show you in this context is this. We imported this chair, but we can see that it's different color than the sofa. I kind of like the redness of the chair, but the sofa is great. And what I would like to change is the color of the pillows. So if we open up interniq, if we open up the side panel and interniq, there are no light adjustments obviously for this asset because there are no lights, it's not emissive, but there's this tab called Colorize. Now, every asset in interniq has a primary color and a secondary color. Let's test them out. If I select a color here and put it into red, I can control the factor and you can see how it turns the asset into the corresponding color. Handy, right? Now, as I said, I would like to turn the pillows red. So let's select the red in here in the secondary color, make it a bit darker, and let's just increase the factor so that it looks a bit similar. Maybe I added a bit too much saturation. Yeah, something like this. There we go. Yeah, that looks nice. This Colorize feature works for every asset in interniq and it's really powerful. You can easily change the whole style for a scene in just a snap of fingers or just by clicking a different color. And it also works with batch recoloring. I think that this kitchen looks really, really nice, and that overall this room that we made looks really okay. Considering that we didn't even save once and we already have like this set up, it's just crazy how quickly you can set up interiors with interniq. So yeah, I think that this kind of covers it. I mean, I was gonna show you how to make bathrooms and how just, you know, make overall a whole flat or house, but you know, it's just it will be just me sliding assets all over and just talking about the same old things that you already heard. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I think that you will find interniq very valuable in your own projects. And yeah, just if you have some creative points, if you have some ideas about where we could take this add-on in the future, what else could we add, just let us know in the comments. And yeah, send us some renders that you were able to make with this add-on, and see you next time. Happy blending!